For decades, banking asked people to adapt to the bank. Today, the smartest financial platforms are doing the opposite. They are adapting to people because customers no longer compare their banking experience to another bank. They compare it to the best digital experiences they have anywhere. The best shopping experience, the best travel experience, the best mobile experience, the best experience, period. Our next conversation explores what happens when financial services are redesigned around real human behavior, lifestyles, and everyday needs, rather than legacy banking processes. Joining us is one of Europe's most innovative banking leaders, Petr Baron, CEO of TBI Bank, in conversation with Aniela Russeva, CEO of Webit. Together, they will explore how AI, data, and digital platforms are helping create a new generation of financial experiences that are more personal, more intuitive, and increasingly invisible. Because the future of banking may not feel like banking at all. The best banking experience of the future may be the one you never notice, because it simply works. Let's invite again on stage Aniela Russeva for Fireside Chat with Petr Baron.
Wow.
Peter, even though, as you saw, I already have the digital face, you need to be with the real character on the stage.
I will do my best.
So, for our session, the topic is rebuilding banking around customer lifestyles, not legacy journeys. From your perspective, what is broken in the traditional banking journey today? There are broken things, definitely.
Oof, where do I start? I mean, look. In reality, I think we're today all spoiled on one side, right? But I think that's exactly what drives innovation in terms of customer experience. We all now treat banking as a necessary evil, right? In majority of cases. Whilst in order, I think, kind of for the next step change in the industry, it has to be something that, well, at least brings you a certain pleasure of an experience. Wow, kind of, and that wow is, we see that already, for our different platforms that we operate and we're used to already as kind of as a standard now. Banking is still catching up, right? I mean, you will see still many banks, from paper to offices to where. I mean, even you, I just asked me when I took you to the stand and I said, hey, you download our app, right? I mean, and you were like, oh, I don't need to go anywhere. I'm like, of course you don't, right? But kind of, that's the reality that, some banks are operating in space where, they're still old school, right? And the others are understanding the trend, right? And the trend is constantly changing. And I think what is now at the forefront is really when you are having a financial service experience. Doesn't have to be necessarily banking, right? I mean, payments doesn't always have to be banking, or insurance doesn't always, and so on and so on. But wherever you're using financial services, whenever it should be seamless, right? And in some cases, when it's more of kind of a habit thing, I don't know, payments, right, that you need to do regularly, right? That's just going to be, it has to be super easy, right? Whether you just, tell your agent to make a payment or program your agent to make payments. Whilst others that are more, let's say, usually time-consuming and longer-term issues, like savings, for example, taking loan, they should be, almost dopamine banking, right? So whenever you're doing something, whenever you're making an investment, right, it should bring a certain excitement to you. It should give you a positive vibe, right? Because otherwise, basically the industry is just getting so disrupted. And clients don't have the time or patience anymore for anybody who drops a ball, right? So you have to be constantly thinking of that next step. How do you take that customer experience, right, holistic customer experience, to the next level? So that's why there's been so much disruption, I think, in finance over the last, kind of decade.
But TBI has grown into a broader digital banking and commerce ecosystem built around customers' everyday needs. What value does this create for customers, and which products or experience do they appreciate the most?
So, I mean, our business model is relatively unique, right? There are not too many banks actually who had the same vision as we have, or the same roots from which we're coming and building upon. So our story was always more about what has now become a very common term: buy now, pay later.
Yeah.
Right, and that's core of our service proposition to the consumer, but also to the merchant, because on one side, consumer is able basically to finance multiple purchases through splits, and which become very transparent and understandable for him in terms of repayments, and he can manage his budget, or buy more than he would have would have done otherwise, or had to save up to buy goods or services. Whilst to merchants, it helps ultimately to sell more. Right, so so here there's a very good bridge between the business, right, the merchant proposition, and the consumer need. So that's at the core of really what we do, and that's our most popular, let's say, proposition today. But that's at the same time, it's a very good hooking product, right, to bring in the customer, for him to try other services and products that we offer, for which the market still doesn't know us well enough, because honestly we haven't been investing enough into advertising these services. So market still knows us mainly for buy now, pay later. Whilst our app, where you start managing your buy now, pay later loan, or you can increase your limit or whatever you need to do, repay, extend, anything you need to do, has multiple other services that are available. And this hook product then brings in the customer to the next part of his life cycle inside a bank, and depending what product it is, because it doesn't always have to be buy now, pay later, it could be a saving proposition. Our Kasichka has been very popular in Bulgaria specifically. Then the customer has other needs, of course, right? And we already today offer instant payments, great saving proposition in four currencies available in Bulgaria. Shopping right inside the app, where you can use your credit functionality, what we call shopping limit, in order to be able to finance other goods, get cash back on that, and then go on and on and on. And the most important thing is that we truly believe that the everyday banking, kind of daily banking or payments, account, card, they should be free. And of course, if you want to go for higher tiers and blah blah blah, have other experiences, but basic banking today should already be free. And majority of banks don't do that. We do that. That was right from the start our model, freemium model, and that's what we do.
Yeah, but today we talk a lot about trust, balance, and basically now people already expect that financial services, as you've already said, need to be instant, simple, and highly personal. But at the same time, banking, finance are strictly regulated and trust-based businesses. So where is the balance, and how basically the customer needs and the regulation is?
I hear you. Yeah, it's a everyday constructive battle, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that
It is a battle.
there is definitely a lot of value in regulation and in protecting the customer and making sure that the right guys get to do the right job, right? Rather than any bad actor can do something. Because when it comes about money, right? I mean, at the end of the day, finance banking is it's veins of economy, right? So the whole system operates on banking trust, so it's fundamental. Now, the way to deal with it is, of course, through organization, and that organization, whether we're talking about just purely organizational setup, where banks need to change their, way they're designed, and kind of organizations designed from silos, right? That don't tend to talk to each other and build walls between themselves, to building. What we have seen most technology companies have done is really moving into a much more agile setups, where you have basically tribes or squads, where all the resources are pulled around the customer need. So then you'll have people from product, from data, from engineering. At the same time, you'll have people from compliance, right?
Yeah.
In order to make sure to advise that the product is fit for purpose from a compliance perspective, but ultimately is competitive and solves a problem for the customer. But in order to even get there, first you need to make sure that your organizational culture is right, because that does require change, especially for banking people, right? It does require to infuse talent from technology industry, FMCG industry, and so on and so on, so that you're able to really be open-minded to the fact that the banks of tomorrow are very far from the banks of the past, right? And that is a step switch that not everybody is able to kind of process, right? And be happy in such environment. But people who are, they flourish because they really see the results of their work and how they solve real problems, rather than how they need to battle inside their corporate minutiae, right? That unfortunately still exists in majority of regulated environments. And the bigger they get, the more harder it is, right? To be honest.
But what will separate the banks that simply digitize exciting products from the ones that become truly living digital experiences? You said banks from the past. Yeah. What do you mean?
I think, look, I always bring it down to the fact that it's culture of organization, right? Because at the end of the day, anything what gets done in any company is done by people, right? Yes, enabled with AI, right? For sure.
So it's more culture than technology?
It's much more culture than technology, right? Because it's only through the culture that you will be open-minded enough to try different things, and actually majority of it is pilot, test. If it doesn't work, shelf it, right? Learn on the lessons, reiterate, right? And that's really very far away from banking culture, right? Banking culture, you failed, get out, right? And that's the usual, oh, we blame everything on you, you burned the budget, you are the idiot, I get my job, and we blame everything on you. That's usual culture, right? Now, we've been very focused on this in TBI and making sure that we don't punish our mistakes. We really, I won't say we celebrate them, right? Even though you take Spotify, for example, they celebrate mistakes, right? Literally, right? In our case, it should be a learning, right? So we need to make sure to take away the learnings and then move ahead, because only through iteration you can improve. You get customer feedback, you improve your product, and on and on and on and on, right? Until it works well, and then you can move on to something else.
One personal question, not that personal though, we are on the stage, but which are the banking or fintech apps that you use? If you now have to open your phone, besides the TBI one, what are the others that you use?
Well, to be honest, TBI one now does pretty much everything that I need. I wouldn't call myself a super difficult user. But look, I still bank with HSBC, with whom I opened my account when I was a student. I'm a very loyal person. I have a Monzo account as well, just because it's interesting for me, to see how they do things. Because I think Monzo is one of the best examples in terms of really being able to communicate banking in a very simple way to the consumer, and I think that is just a must-have. And I think they've really been pioneers in terms of making banking simple, right? And I think that's really fundamental to what's going on. So I use Monzo a lot.
If it's invisible, it works, what the robot says.
Pretty much, yes. Yeah. Pretty much. But look, before it becomes invisible, right, still I think that because when we talk about people's money, they want to understand, right? But they're also tired of banks always explaining things to them in a banking terms, in 100 pages of terms and conditions hidden somewhere that nobody can read, and probably nobody in the bank has read. I mean, except somebody who's prepared it and legal and compliance, just to make sure that all the risks are covered. They should be covered, but they should be also communicated in a way that the customer really understands, right? And that, I think, open dialogue, I think, has become very important now with mobile breakthrough, because mobile has really put the kind of the controls in the hands of a consumer, right? So before, where you would get pretty much locked in your banking relationship for life, right? Now you download any app and you're a customer in 3 minutes, right? So download TBI, you have your account, you have your card, you're free to go, right? So you can switch much easier, right? So now that the customer has that power, right? I think it's, in order to retain that customer, you need to build that trust, and that trust can only be built through when you communicate in human language, right? No language that the customers understand. And of course, hyper-personalization is next step, where you're able to correct the language to each individual, and that's happening, right? I mean, AI is powering that, and that's for sure works. But to finish answering your question, sorry, long answer, I also use eToro for my trading. I don't do it kind of because we and TBI don't yet offer it. Maybe we will do it a bit later. But this really I don't need anymore, right? So for me this is enough accounts, right? And I'm not I don't yet use open banking to aggregate it, honestly, purely because at the moment, all solutions are pretty ugly, right? And then they require you re-logging in and so on, where regulation is still hampering the innovation, let's say. So I'm using
as a final message, based on AI, because we talk about AI today, how do you see the banking industry in 5 years from now?
Look, I think that the velocity of delivery is going to seriously increase. I think that there's going to be a majority of communication the customers will be doing with banks will be through AI, right? It will be through chats or audio, but at the end of the day, it will be all powered by the same by the same engine. I think apps will start playing a slightly smaller role than they do today. So we had this transition from branch kind of banking, right, to mobile. Mobile will still stay, but in 5 years' time, for sure, you'll do much more your interaction through AI, whether through the app itself, right, and you will just communicate through the chat, or just through other platforms, because banking ultimately is becoming more and more embedded into other services, right? So whether we're talking from e-commerce services, lifestyle, travel, doesn't matter, right? So so you want that blood to flow through the veins almost seamlessly, right, as much as possible. And banks have been using AI for a long time, right, at the back, but customers never really understood that, right? We've been using it for AI probably in different forms for over 10 years, right, maybe even longer, right? But now more and more customers will start, interacting just like you do now when you have an issue, you go to talk to Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, etc., etc., etc. So more of that interface will start appearing.
Peter, thank you so much for this visionary discussion, and hope that now we know more about what we will expect in the banking industry in the next 5 years. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.